So we'll move on to the next set from the transportation company. It's a new Thunderpole 3000, and they want this optimising for UK FM channels only, which is like 95% of what we do. So we know there's the PNI and there's the Joe Pix versions of these, but the firmware is different on all the ones that don't say Thunderpole T3000 on them. So you might think on the face of it you can save some money, probably a fifth, by buying the cheaper version, but the firmware is different. So for those of you who want to use 80 channel and they use AM on CPT, then this is the version to have. But if you only ever intend being on UK FM or CPT and not the 80, then the cheaper ones may work for you. But to have to reprogram this to go into CPT every single time you want to, which is what you'd have to do on the cheaper versions, is a pain. So the firmware on this is excellent, and it just goes from one mode to the other. But today the optimisation is solely UK 40. So we'll get it plugged in. To be honest, it's about the only current model that I would actually have in my own vehicle. Having said that, you all know we've got the current model Midland 78 Plus multi blue display, second variant, and it's dire. But that receives okay, transmits about 3.8 watts because we've optimised it. And then you've got this half-second delay when you go into transmit, and then you've got the VCO that doesn't lock properly unless the temperature is either nice temperate temperature or not too hot and not too cold. And we've got 3 of those sets and they're all the same. So you can't say, oh, it's faulty. No, they're all like that. There's a new set, we'll put it on 13.8 volts. And we'll just check that it works. So if I've got his paperwork from the, I have somewhere. Well, it'd be fun if I lost it, wouldn't it? Oh, this looks like it. Yes, so this is the business. We've got the TTI 881. So do the Thunderpole 3000. I've got half an hour to do this in. If I can't do it in half an hour, well, we'll carry on with it later. I've got some stuff to pick up far side of Peterborough. So, transmit. Let's put picture in picture on. One thing we don't do is hurry things. So, we're on the 3 watt scale. We should get, oh, hang on a minute, what band are we on? Oh, we're on UK. So this is what I was saying. If you haven't seen me show these before, so we've started off on UK. If I press band, it's now gone into EU, FM, press it again, EU, AM, press it again, back to UK, FM. So absolutely seamless. What more could you ask for? The other ones, you'd have to reprogram them for either the UK or the CPT channels and go from there. So they're not easy to work with. So we're going to go to channel 20 and press transmit, and it is doing 2.6 watts. Deviation. Wallow. But wallow. I can't get more than 2.2, so it's like 1.9 to 2.2. So one that little, that's quite usable, don't get me wrong. I mean, some of the sets that come out are absolutely dire, like that Cobra 29 I always go back to with the def receive, always 0.9 kilohertz. We've seen those come out, including our own sample. So the frequency, which you can't adjust on these to my knowledge, is 27,79111, which is fine. Our test set's only been on 5 minutes. So receive, let's see how that's performing. So plug in our test instruments into the socket at the back. Most CB sets I'd want to be using on a 4-inch extension speaker, and especially in a lorry situation. So it's great having a forward-facing speaker, but that's all right in a quiet saloon car. But I think you're best off, because the last thing you want to do is to wreck the speaker, because it will burn out. Right, even on business radios they do. So what we need to do is just set the signal generator to be spot on, and let's see, let's go to the cyanide meter, and let's see what kind of sensitivity we've got. I need to override the squelch, and at least these sets have a knob for squelch. I won't be able to change it anyway, but just for the reference, the receive is 0.52 microvolts for 12 dB cyanide. Right, we'll cut the power and we'll open it up. So, open it up, switch it back on, is this only active on? It is. I'm being dazzled. I'll just have to put those back just for not being dazzled. So there's not much to do. We've done these about 4 or 5 times before on video. Go back to the main meter, and we need to manipulate to get to see if we can get to 4 watts. There we have it, 4 watts. Now it's deviation time. I just need to touch this a little bit. So it's the one at the top, especially if I don't drop the tool inside. See whether that's right. Wallow. Nope. Let's try it there. Wallow. 1, 2. No, just a fraction more. Wallow. Wallow. That's it. There's nothing on the receiver to adjust. Oops, that's the power come off. So the only other two adjustments on this subboard, the display board, are for AM. I think we've got AM. I've done this before. You can look at the other video. We've got probably AM depth and we've got AM modulation. We're not touching that today. So all we need to do is to make sure we put this back together with the cables dressed so they don't snag. And whilst holding it, start putting the screws back in. Right, so just check it still works, it's still receiving. I really do struggle with cigarette lighter things. We have a cigarette lighter socket on this bench, but it doesn't go to this power supply. So out of interest, let's see where the squelch happens. So put the squelch to full, turn the signal generator up. So 3 microvolts. Let's put the inlaid picture on the attenuator controls. So 3 microvolts, 10 microvolts, 30 microvolts, 100 microvolts. 300 microvolts, 1 millivolt. Comes in at a staggering 3 millivolts. But it isn't adjustable, so that's where we are. Let's see where the auto squelch is. So with the auto squelch on, it's coming in at 1.7 microvolts and it's cutting back out at 1 microvolt. And then the normal squelch, we'll check that, putting the signal generator to standby at 0.3 of a microvolt. Switching the signal generator back on, straight in at 0.3 microvolts, going off at 2.5. So let's get a closer on a different scale. It's actually coming at 0.4 of a microvolt, and we lose it at 0.25 of a microvolt. So that's really, really good. So apart from my criticism that the high end of the squelch is a bit too tight for me, which I say isn't adjustable, that's absolutely great. So we'll put it on an aerial like we would do. We'll go 1.9 of Roger, and we'll either find Farmers on channel 9 or Swearers, Bucket Mouths and the Burnie Brigade on channel 19. Will this be the day that somebody says Roger back to me? So we're on the aerial. Turn the test set off. One niner, Roger. $19, Roger. Well, there's somebody out there. It's a very sensitive set, so we're picking up things we don't normally pick up, but they'll be Nottingham way, I'm absolutely sure. So there we have it, UK only setup for the Thunderpole T3000, and it works fine. And so far, all the ones I have seen have worked fine. Thanks for watching.